Welcome to SVL Free News and Views. This is Brian About Town, your host, and thank you for tuning in. This is our new format we're going to. We've used to had just one show we posted on Thursday afternoon. Now we're going to divide it up into Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And thank you for tuning in. I want to thank our sponsors who make this show possible: Mitchell College, Randy Marion, Piedmont Healthcare, Blue Harbor Bank, Fast Fills, Key to Escape, the Escape Room, Statesville Family YMCA, and McDonald's of Iredell County. And hey, I'm broadcasting here from my apartment that I'm cleaned out. I'm moving out. We're getting ready to move into our new house, so I thought I would do it right here from the Statesville Women's Club one more time. So thank you all it's been a great time living here for the past 6 years, but now we're getting ready to move into our new house. I want to talk about also on our show, what we're going to do is I'll give you a recap of the top headlines from the SVL Free News. And on today's Monday, July 2nd, version, we had a recap of the Troutman Parade, which was Saturday, and they also had a big festival there at the Iredell County Fairgrounds Saturday night with fireworks. It was a big time. Everybody had a great time. See some pictures here. Another story we had was members of the Boy Scout Troop 609 went to Washington, D.C. They got to meet Representative Ted Bugg, among other folks, and got to tour the Capitol and the White House and so forth. Had a big time going up there to visit Washington, D.C. We'll have a segment later on the show today about boating safety. Went over to the Sheriff's Department, and the Sheriff is offering, his office is offering boater safety checkpoints. One on Sunday, July 15th at Stumpy Creek Access off Perth Church Road from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then on Saturday, July 21st from Hagers Creek Access off of McKendree Road from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. also. These events are voluntary. Deputies will check your boating apparatus, life-saving devices, as well as child flotation vest and equipment to ensure you are complying with all boating regulations. Sheriff Campbell added, this is just another way we offer a free service to the citizens of Iredell County and those who come to Lake Norman to enjoy the lake and make sure they have fun and safe time on the water. Another segment we had on today's SVL Free News was about Dixie's Fish and Chicken, which opened in Troutman on Friday. It was the eagerly awaited Dixie's Fish and Chicken in the Food Line Shopping Center in Troutman, so go out and support them and see what all the excitement's about there. Another segment we had on today was a local educator was recognized by Kindred Music International. Gina Terry has been recognized for her outreach efforts by Kindred Music International. This is the world's leading provider of music-based education for children, and Terry provides the learning program at First Presbyterian Church of Statesville. Okay, to our first segment. I was hacked last week. Have you been hacked on social media or your email? It's not much fun. It's embarrassing. And your friends say, do you really need help? And you can see here what my email looked like. And you can see there's some telltale signs. The email is not really my email in the signature spot. And there's some grammatical errors and so forth. And my friends called me and said, Brian, are you in trouble? Do you need our help? I said, no, I was hacked. So the first thing I went in and changed my password to both my email and all my social media accounts. So you need to do that on a regular basis. But I went to the Iredell County Sheriff's Office, went to talk to Detective Sergeant Daniel Icard. He handles fraud schemes, scams, white-collar crime. He gave me some pointers about what to do if you're potentially defrauded. And they want to be a resource for you. So feel free to call him. I'll put the number right here. If you have an issue, you think you've been defrauded, or you feel like something's not quite right on social media, or some kind of scam going on, call him. He'll be glad to give you some pointers. So let's take a listen. Hey, I'm down here at the Iredell County Sheriff's Office, and I hate to report that I've been hacked. I got hacked last week, and some of you may have received emails from me. I'm showing it right here, right now, and it's just not quite right. Look at the language, and then the email address is not really my email address. I'm so sorry I got out there. So I came down to get some advice from Daniel Icard, Detective Sergeant Daniel Icard. Daniel, how you doing?
Doing good, sir.
All right, so give me some advice. What do you do when you see that you've been hacked?
First thing to do is contact, well, it depends on the type of the hack. Okay. If it's involving any sort of business, contact the business, make sure you got everything straightened with them. Contact the Sheriff's Office. We'd love to be a resource to help folks out if you run any sort of problems like that.
I guess, well, mine was just, there was a call to action for help needed. They were trying to get them to respond to them. Well, they wanted money, obviously. So, but if you get hacked into your credit card account, you do have to contact the company.
Yes.
And the bank, obviously, to do that.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about fraud. So what are some of the tips you wanted to go over today about credit card fraud and so forth?
Some of the biggest tips is if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Don't proceed with anything so far as that. That's totally dangerous.
The second thing you talked about also was about they're trying to keep you keep you from veering away and asking other people about the fraud.
Absolutely. When somebody's trying to perpetrate a fraud, they're trying to get money from you. They're trying to push you down the road to get that money. They don't want to put too much pressure, but they want to isolate you from anybody else that could converse with you and possibly identify this is a fraud and that they need to stop.
Well, in my case, some people got emails saying they wanted to for them to buy a iTunes card or something like that. If they're demanding payment or asking for payment other than traditional means, that's kind of a red flag, isn't it?
Absolutely. Non-traditional payment methods, anything that's not a regular method by which that you would send money, stay away from that. That's a huge red flag. Any governmental agency is not going to accept iTunes cards as a method of payment. They're probably not going to send an agent down to your local store to pick up a MoneyGram payment or anything like that. So any sort of regular payments, relatable cards, anything like that, stay away from it. That's most likely fraud.
Okay, some other things to be aware of. If you get a call from the IRS or a credit card or a Microsoft or Apple calling you, it's probably not legit, correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct. Generally, those companies are not just going to call you up out of the blue. If you do get one of those calls, what we'd suggest that you do is you look up a number for that entity yourself, and then you contact it using a known good contact number, not a number that these people provide you, because they're providing you a false number.
Because what you were telling a while ago is sometimes people are not sure who you are when you call them, and if they ask you to give you the phone number, that doesn't do any good. You need to find the phone number on your own first.
Absolutely. In investigate cases, I've contacted folks, and they're really concerned that I'm not who I say that I am. Because think about it, a lot of these frauds are, hey, I'm from this governmental agency, and we're demanding money, so then who am I that's calling them? So what I always tell folks is, then you look up our phone number and you call and ask for me. That way you can validate that I do work at the Iredell County Sheriff's Office.
You know, and one of the other challenges you talked about was it's a tough road to hoe to trying to find these folks, and also trying to prosecute, I would think. So but you still, the best thing what we're trying to do today is to protect yourself from having to be defrauded.
Yes.
Being proactive.
Do what you can. What we really recommend to folks to do is, number one, be smart, be vigilant. Don't engage into any of these fraud schemes like we're discussing right now. Check your credit report. You get one free one a year. Keep a check on that. Sometimes people will discover that there's accounts been opened in their name and that they have nothing to do with, and that's how they stumble upon it. And the quicker that we find this stuff, the better off it is. The more likely it is that we'll have evidence to go after the bad guys.
Because I got hacked one time on my credit card, and they bought 2 Airbnb locations I didn't even know about. But the card company made it good,
Yes,
and they're usually pretty good about that. One last thing about gas skimmers. What's the best advice there?
Well, that's some new technology. Just like everything in our society, technology is great, but it's also a really bad thing when it's in the wrong hands. If you see any evidence that a gas pump's been tampered with, notify the attendant. If you should happen to come up with suspicious Bluetooth signatures that your phone's picking up, that could be something also. Please notify the attendant so that they can notify us and we can get in touch with the proper authorities and address that.
And also, as you say, it's always safest to pay cash.
Yes, it is. There's so many ways that a card can get compromised. Again, it's about security versus convenience, and it's that balance. Is it convenience to swipe that card? It certainly is. I do it myself. But the safest, most secure means is by using good old-fashioned cash.
Okay, so we talked to the sheriff earlier when you were talking to. You want to be known as a resource. So if the kind of crime you investigate is obviously fraud, and what else?
Fraud, scams, identity thefts, anything that's economic based.
Okay, I'm gonna put your name right here. I'm gonna put the contact information right here in there to call you in. If you think you've been scammed, you think you've been defrauded, Daniel will be glad to kind of walk you through what your rights are and what resources you have to get.
Absolutely, Sheriff Kimball is really big on us getting out there, being proactive, trying to engage and address these matters. The more people that we reach, the better off everyone is. So if you have any sort of question about something that may be a fraud or a scam, anything that you just are raising an eyebrow about, you don't know what to do with it, call us. It's a simple 5-10 minute call probably that we can resolve, and I can tell you, hey, you should probably stay away from that, or we might validate that it's something legitimate.
Well, but it's probably not legitimate that you get the email where you've just inherited $1 million from your uncle you didn't know.
Absolutely not. That's not going to be legit.
That's not going to be. So, Daniel, thank you for all you do, and here to call this number if you've been defrauded or you have a situation you want him to look into. He'll be more than happy to do it. Thank you very much, Daniel. So there you have some really good advice from Detective Sergeant Daniel Icard, and like I said, he's there to help, and so are so many folks at the Iredell County Sheriff's Office. So take a listen there. Now, another service they're providing, I talked about earlier, they're offering these boating safety checkpoints coming up on July 15th and July 21st. So let's take a listen to Captain Brian Fink and see what he says about boating safety. Hey, this is Brian Bytown. I'm down here at Lake Norman, and I'm with the Iredell County Sheriff's Officer, Captain Brian Fink. Good to see you, Brian.
Good to see you.
And we're down here this week, this 4th of July week, to talk about boat safety. And Brian, I was amazed to hear that Lake Norman has 520 square miles of shoreline.
That's correct. And out of that 520, we cover patrol 270 shoreline miles.
So, Iredell County Sheriff's Office is responsible for more than half the shoreline at Lake Norman.
That's correct.
It's amazing. And you said there's 45,000 boats registered on the lake?
That's correct. We have 45,000 boats registered. That's not counting ones that's probably not registered, but we do have 45,000 boats registered.
So if you have a question about registered boat, obviously you could call the Sheriff's Office. I'd be glad to get you in touch with the right procedure to help out to make sure your boat is properly registered. And you're one of 6 departments, because there's 6 other entities, including the wildlife, that patrol the
That's correct.
lake. And you have 2 boats and 1 jet ski?
Yes, sir. We have 2 boats and a jet ski. Sheriff Campbell got us a jet ski a couple years ago, and that helps with getting into certain areas that the boats are can't go in.
Can't go in, okay. And how many officers do you have?
We have 2 full-time. Hopefully we'll get another one in July. That'll give us 3 full-time. But during the summertime, this year we got 8 SROs. There's no school in the summer, so we utilize them down to help us with the lake. So that gives us 10 total.
And the SROs is School Resource Officer. Okay,
correct.
they're obviously off during the summer. So you cover the lake, obviously, all year round?
All year, 365 days, 24 hours a day.
That's right. And so far this year, you've done a couple checkpoints. You've had one this past Saturday.
We did. We scheduled another one for this Saturday. 6:30. We're going to try to do it between 8 to 12.
Right. Okay. And this is really just for your information to get out, find out what you need to do to make sure your boat is safe.
That's correct.
And good. So what kind of advice do you give people to have a safe boat outing?
Preferably have someone who is not drinking or something to drive the boat. We want everybody to have a good time on the lake. That's what it's here for. But it'd be nice to have someone who is not sober and
getting everybody back home safe. And obviously, you can be charged with boating while impaired.
That's correct.
And be aware of that.
That's right. And that would be a misdemeanor. But if there's injury involved, certain levels of felony. And that is the Cheyenne Law, which is the female who was killed a couple years ago. It was named after her. So.
And also, you can be charged with reckless boating too.
That's correct. You have to stay away certain distance from boats, jet skis, certain distance, things like that.
And then you were talking about your officers. They have over 100 hours of training so far?
So far, the 2 full-time officers have got over 100 hours of training, which from learning how to approach a boat, stop a boat, water safety, recovery, and things like that.
So obviously, Brian, you want folks to come out and have a good time, but also be aware to make sure you go out on the lake and come back safely. And if you have any questions, give you guys a call.
That's correct. You can give us a call or give me a call. So.
You're right here. Okay. Captain Fink, thank you very much. Happy 4th of July.
Well, happy 4th of July to everybody else.
And everybody out there, be safe. Okay, there you have it. 2 great resources from the Iredell County Sheriff's Office. I want to thank them for allowing me to come over and make those, record those segments. If you need anything from them, feel free to call them anytime about anything you feel like it's either social media problem, you've been scammed or that kind of thing, or if you need more questions about your boating safety. And check out those checkpoints coming up soon. So thank you for tuning in, and go to svlfreenews.com to sign up for your email edition. And we look forward to having another show. I'll do another show on July 4th. So I hope you have a great July 4th week. And thank you for supporting SVL Free News.